I'm a firm believer, I guess, in like what's meant to be is meant to be, que sera, sera. I
Mm.
don't spend the time going, oh, I lost to that person or I lost to that person. I might call them and say, hey, I really wanted that gig. What did you do?
Mm.
Just to get some ideas or something. But no hard feelings, nothing like that. Or
Focus where it's positive, right? Focus on growing the business, focus on like, positive areas more so. It's good to take stock and like to acknowledge, hey, like I'm losing a deal or losing deals. Why? Sure. I mean, you want to know that. You want
yeah.
to bury your head in the sand, but I think focusing on fruitful activities is smart in life, in business. Keep it positive,
Yeah.
keep
And
on
things
putting
that,
efforts into things that grow.
yeah.
And you gotta love technology, especially when it
I
doesn't
know,
work.
right?
Whenever, when you are.
Okay, cool. Um, how's your day, first and foremost?
It's good. So I've managed to now. I'm going to the gym in the morning, so it's nice
Oh,
because then it
nice.
like kind of calms me down, and then I feel like I can focus better because I'm a little
Yeah.
bit more tired, and then it's nice because I work from home, and so then I get out and like it's normal, and then like I shower at a normal time. It feels more like a regular schedule, but this is only my first week doing it. Usually, I would go in the evening or in the afternoons.
Yeah. I was a huge fitness CrossFitter in 2020 before the pandemic. I did CrossFit for 3 years straight, and I was in the best shape of my life, eating the craziest meals to build muscle and just experiment with my body.
Mhm.
And through the process, I actually gained like more love for my body in the sense of like, I don't care what it looks like. I just want to take care of it. Even though
Mhm.
sometimes, my actions don't follow that. But I used to um, go when I worked, I would work all day and then I'd go to the gym after work. And it was kind of like my social, going to the gym after it was where I was able to let all that stress out after
Yeah.
work and it really worked for me. And then I'd go home, shower at night, whatever. But
Mhm.
then when I wasn't working, going in the morning was way better because it just felt like, oh, I've got extra energy now. And I would go home and knock out a ton of work and then be lazy for the rest of the day. So I don't know. Yeah, but now I haven't been
Yeah,
working out
really.
since the pandemic. I dove straight into like couch potato mode and haven't gotten out of it, but I'm starting to now. I'm like, okay, it's time to get a gym membership finally.
Different phases of life, and I think sometimes it's good to pull back and relax, and other times and focus on other
Yeah.
things. Um,
Yeah, I really needed it. I told you how I took a like sabbatical from the photo booth business for a little
right.
bit and just needed to kind of take a break from responsibilities. I was a mom since I was 18. So it's like I just really wanted to, I don't know, be 18 for a year.
Right. Oh, yeah. And it's okay, right? Like that's
Yeah.
okay, right? Check out, yeah. Take
Yeah.
a moment.
I would
You know.
never have done it before, but
Mhm.
um, you know, my specific life circumstances allowed me to be able to do something like that. And it was like, oh wow. And I didn't intentionally set out to do that. It was just kind of like, okay, well now I'm moving. I'm not really in a hurry to just like jump right into photo booth again. So it's just one of those things. It was kind
Yeah.
of fun.
Well, good luck getting back into it. It's not, and I think it's not about falling off the horse. It's about can you get back on and establish the habits, because there's sometimes
It's
where I go like
true.
and like just like nope, get back in there. And today I had a battle with myself because I slept in more than normal and I had to rush my coffee, and I was like coming up with excuses as to why I couldn't go. I have a call at 10, I have a call at 11, I won't make it, da da da, and I was like, you know what, just go. And it all
Yeah.
worked out. I pushed my 10 back 10 minutes, and it's with somebody that I know well, so it's not a big deal.
That's
And
awesome.
so yeah, so it worked out, and I went. So yeah, but then tomorrow I don't think I'll go because my knee's hurting because I'm old, getting up there. So
Yeah.
um,
That's the thing.
so I can
That's
kind
the thing that kind of stopped me from doing CrossFit for after 3 years straight, every single day going really, really hard, was once I was able to take a break on my body, it was like, oh, I really need a break. Like my body was so stressed out,
Mhm.
you know. Stress
It's
is
really
a
important.
major factor too
Yeah,
of health. So managing that was really good for me.
right. Being able to get back in is important, right? Like going hard is not necessarily, as especially as you get older, the goal. It's like, how do I make it so I can show up again and again
Yeah,
and
I'm
again?
43. There's no going to the Olympics here for me, you know. Unfortunately. I just don't have that drive like for sports. I grew up doing athletic sports, but I don't have the
Okay,
drive to be all that I
compete.
can be. I am not a Michael Jordan when it comes to sports.
Right.
I am the one who will sit on the sidelines and cheer for them, no problem. But that it takes a whole nother level of mental discipline and drive that and it's funny to I don't know if I told you this when I chatted with you, but my cousin is actually married to Will Perdue, who played for
Okay.
the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan. I did not
Okay.
intentionally bring him up to plug that.
Right.
But like they did this documentary on him, and not a lot of them really liked him because he was just so driven. It was all about the game.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
am like a personable person. I don't care if people don't like me, but at the same time I'm not going out there trying to cause disharmony because I'm just, adamant about photo booths.
Well, we're all wired differently, and like there's certain personality types and all that stuff, and it's interesting, to see. And I'm with you in that. Like, I'm not. Um, I like harmony, generally speaking. I'm competitive, but yeah,
Yeah,
and
same.
business is
Oh,
its
I'm
own sport in
extremely
some ways.
competitive.
Like I like competing in business. Like that's fun for me. Competing in
Yeah.
sports is less fun for me, personally.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
I
that's.
enjoy it too, but like I said, I don't have that drive to be
Mhm.
the gold, winning the gold, so to speak, at the Olympics.
What about
I think,
market when you're doing your photo booth business? Are you trying to be the best? Is that where you get competitive, or
yeah, I, I don't, my competitiveness is like when I do play sports, like I am aggressive. I am
Mhm.
like, no, I want to win. Um, I guess I just don't need to be the best.
Mhm. No, and I think
So, and
yeah,
it's interesting you brought up the photo booth because it's like, I tell people all the time, like, you can make a lot of money doing corporate events, but when you get into those Super Bowl events and the Oscars and things like that, that to me has no appeal. Of course, if they
right.
wanted to hire me, for sure, but I don't have a drive
Not need the
to
status,
com
like a status
to
thing,
compete
right?
for those
Yeah,
hard events. I am happier, um, helping a business that's struggling get more reach and have
right.
them, I mean, or maybe not even struggling, just taking them to a next level. I had a photo booth, like a wine bar in Napa, and I set up, um, just a Moby digital snap pick booth for him, on a Mother's Day event, and it brought so many people in off the street because they're right there on the main street of Napa. And I sent him all these analytics, the email addresses, the tech, the phone numbers, everything that was collected, and on there, I did the survey where you can ask, can we share, use your, photos for marketing, etc. And I had both my company and his company. And when I sent him all that stuff, he immediately emailed me back and was like, we need to start email marketing. And I'm like, yes, you do. So I help them do that, and those are the things I think that bring me so much joy. And that's why I think stepping and having kind of a branch off of that of photo booth education too is I'm also helping other photo booth business owners. So, you know, I don't feel like there's a way that you can be competitive and help people at the same time. You can, but like I'm a firm believer, I guess, in like what's meant to be is meant to be, que sera, sera. I
Mhm.
don't spend the time going, oh, I lost to that person or I lost to that person. I might call them and say, hey, I really wanted that gig. What did you do?
Mhm.
Just to get some ideas or something. But no hard feelings, nothing like that. Or
Focus where it's positive, right? Focus on growing the business, focus on like, positive areas more so. It's good to take stock and like to acknowledge, hey, like I'm losing a deal or losing deals. Why? Sure. I mean, you want to know that. You want
yeah.
to bury your head in the sand, but I think focusing on fruitful activities is smart in life, in business. Keep it positive,
Yeah.
keep
And
on
things
putting the
that,
efforts into things that grow.
yeah. I mean, I think
Hmm.
that that's probably my weakness is I get really fueled off of creative the creativity of photo booth, or even just designing things. Yesterday I was supposed to do some stuff for my website, and instead I designed a little cartoon photo booth on Canva. you know
Is it for a
so
client? Yeah.
no,
Just going,
I just
oh my
I was
God.
inspired. I saw
Right.
something and I was like, I can make something like that. So stuff like that. But
Motivation's
uh
fascinating like that, right? In terms of like sometimes you're motivated and not, and then you kind of just follow the path. I mean, it's not bad. Give yourself some
it's
grace. But yeah,
true.
I think
And
could
I
change for
think
you later.
that Yeah, and I think that the trend right now is, people are going on vacations and the economy is not the greatest. And so people aren't really spending a lot of money on photo booths. The events are kind of pulling back. And I've got a lot of people reaching out, saying, does anybody else have leads, or how's your inboxes looking? And things like that. And it's like, as I've grown, I've just learned, I love when leads come in, but I don't rely on those. Like, I go out and get my customers. I go out and pick who I want to work with,
Hmm.
and I
So you're
cultivate
doing like
those relationships.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
It's like,
but I mean, inevitably they'll show up at your website though, right? So then you talk with them
right.
or whatever, you give them a card,
And I always,
and
yeah, every time I get a business card from somebody, it immediately goes into my email marketing, and they get a welcome email from me. That's automatic.
I think of most Chuck Cherry's customers that do photo booth, I don't think a lot of them do email marketing. Because I guess like the events are not, they're kind of like weddings, they're not a lot of recurring. And so what kind of content are you putting in there? Like is
So
it monthly? I'm curious.
I I use a company called ConvertKit, but they're rebranding to what's called just Kit. And I think
Yep.
they're going to be adding stuff. But what they do is they allow you to kind of you can put email addresses into like categories. So I'm in Napa, so we have tons of wineries, tons of wedding venues. It's a destination wedding
Oh,
place,
so it's more for like the vendors relationships. Got it. I was thinking for like
Right.
clients.
You
That makes
you
sense.
can do
Right.
that too. Those are usually the ones that will unsubscribe because they're like, I'm not going to use a photo booth
Right.
again, and I don't
Oh,
want
I
to,
know I do
get
people, but sure. So if
right,
I'm if I'm at a winery and I'm in charge of the parties and stuff, I want to have good people and see what they're up to and to
right,
refer.
and but then there are clients that hire me every single anniversary or every single birthday, or they just look for an event to try to hire me for. Some people just really, really love the photo booth and don't want to have an event without it. So they get really excited about it. And, I build those relationships too. And I don't send out emails selling myself. I, I do it in a different way. I do it in a way. First and foremost, my biggest rule is I don't use children to advertise because I just don't think it's needed. And the adults are the ones spending the money anyway, and they're the ones who want to see, the fun. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't do school events or birthday parties or anything like that. Just That's just my number one rule for that. Number two is when I send out emails, I'm not sitting there going, "Hey, I've got a special going on right now." What I'm doing is I'm educating my clients. I'm building a relationship and I'm building trust with them. So I'm sending
Mhm.
them facts. of like, hey, we just did this event and this company just acquired 3,000 emails to their email address, or,
Success stories.
4,500
Yeah, I like.
reach, and da da da, and letting them know like the photo booth isn't just about having fun. It's a marketing expense, and you can use it, to leverage your business, as well as, taking these events and then leveraging it for your marketing
Yeah.
campaigns and creating their own relationships with clients. When we take our branding off of our photo booth and put someone else's branding on there, it's their photo booth technically,
Mhm.
So when people walk away, they say, hey, AAA has a photo booth over at their trade show stand, and I just took this photo. They're attaching their name to that fun photo booth. It's not going, oh, Viva La Photo has one at the AAA trade show. It's not that. Like, they're taking that on. So once I can paint that picture for them, then they're like, oh, this is way better than just having a photo booth and getting pictures at the end.
So then in your email campaigns, kind of, you're going towards, I guess, event planners, that type of thing, which they have events going on all the time. Do you offer special deals to them? Um,
No, I might, like, if it's a wedding one, if I get like if I go to a wedding show, for example, and I acquire a bridal list, I might send out something saying, if you book this week, we're going to throw in an audio guest book. I usually will throw in an audio guest book because they're so easy, and it'll land that deal.
mhm,
But, and I'm not saying like a huge audio guest book setup. I'm just saying the phone with a little sign that says what to do.
mhm.
And then I let people know. Um, what I do, like right now, is when corporations are starting to plan their holiday events. So what I will do is I will use a CRM like Check Cherry,
Mhm.
and I will come up with a package, and it will be my 2024 holiday package. And I'll have 2 or 3 different ones. One will be just a basic photo booth, and then, I will, from here on, if they book, then I will keep sending, information about add-ons and stuff like that. But what I will do is I'll create a package and I'll send it in a link so that they can just book it right there.
What's different about the package versus like a regular corporate package that would happen, for example, in, like, let's
Well,
say
if
it's
I
gonna be
did,
in like
so
August.
so if I sent like what I'm planning on doing this month is sending my Christmas package, which is like 3 different ones. So one would be a digital it's really the same as what I
Right. So it's
normally
it's
would
different
do.
outside. Yeah, nothing. Right. I mean, it's like
It's Yeah, I would just say, here's our 360 package, here's
like
our DSLR package, but I'm going to show them in a way that promotes it in this is our holiday special or whatever.
right.
But
One
really,
thing we
it's
see
just
people
the
at Check
ease
Cherry,
of getting them to book. Sorry to
they
interrupt.
charge they charge more for corporate holiday seasons. We have people that'll surcharge all of December. For example, we have a feature
Yeah.
like flex price, and they'll add 25% or something to all of December, because like it seems like the business is there. It's like such a busy time. When I look at the revenue that Check Cherry customers collect, it's like really high in
Oh, I bet.
December, and then January it like drops down. It's like two opposites. It's funny.
Yeah.
But I see
It
people
would-
charging more and not specials. You know what I mean, for a holiday, because I think they know that
Oh yeah, I
the
do a
likelihood
New Year's
is
Eve package, and it's way more expensive than
high.
holiday or than my regular. When I said it was my regular, that doesn't mean it's the same price. It's just my regular packages
Yeah.
dolled up
The
in
way,
a holiday
yeah.
way.
One of the things we do at Check Cherry is we have like a flex pricing feature, which allows you to add surcharges or discounts. And so a classic example is like New Year's Eve
That's cool.
weekend is 3x my rates, that type of thing. But it doesn't inflate the sticker price. It actually just comes out as like a separate line item charge. And we kind of talked about that internally, like what should it be? And we landed on having a separate line item and not inflating the sticker price, because it just basically, it's like more transparency in pricing. And if the customer comes back to you and is like, hey, that was more or less, it's like, well, that's why. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, it's very straightforward. And it's interesting because like I think it also then puts some pressure on the business owner to like, can you justify your price increases? And
Yes.
like showing right there, and not everybody shows pricing in such a way, but it's kind of the way we do it, and it seems to work well for people. I'm surprised that more people have been asked for the sticker play price of the package, so to speak, to be inflated, or discounted.
Yeah.
Doesn't come up much, but I could see, but I guess it's just transparency in pricing, and we have to deal with online booking and like, clarity, and people can change dates and all kinds of stuff, and like, yeah, but the
Yeah.
holiday
Check Cherry
season.
is very loaded in the sense of like the things that you can do. The fact that
Mhm.
people can book through your website without ever even having to talk to you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the online booking, it's kind of, we started with that and it's really popular. Most people, we should run the numbers again, but most people actually do require some level of touching. But online booking is
Yeah,
also a great way to collect leads. And so the way
it's
we've got it
true.
set up is that you basically can start the online booking. Think of it like a sales funnel. And there's like multiple steps. And after they give personal information, so they'll see packages and pricing, and then they have an opportunity to give their contact info to keep booking. And if somebody has seen your pricing and then gives personal information, we see that as like a high quality lead, right? Like that means
Right.
I'm really serious. My intent is there. And so those are great leads, worth following up, worth personal attention. We're in the business of automating things, but we're actually really, from a business standpoint, we really favor human interaction. Like I think with those who want it, need it, like that's what's going to win sales. And so if you
Yeah.
automate in the right spots, for example, no, like clients don't care if you manually crafted invoice or not. It doesn't benefit them at all, but they do care if you're able to hop on the phone or if you can respond quickly to their questions. And so the online booking's been great in that aspect. And then, you collect leads, and then you can kind of send proposals and qualify and that type of thing. We do have some customers that they'll like aim more for what I would say is like they like, it makes them feel good to have high lead quantity, right? So like when you
Yeah.
start showing pricing, and not every, we have various ways, but I think most people offer online booking with Check Cherry. Um, when you go for lead quantity, I think there's like it makes you feel safe because you have like, something I can do something with these guys, that type of thing. But the quality is obviously going to be not as high. There'll be a lot of price fishers, people that are just interested in price, and then
Yeah. Everybody
one thing.
runs their business a little bit different. And in 12 years, I think I've done all of that where it's like having a lot of leads, working a lot, not charging a lot because this was like 10 years,
I've
you
never,
know,
yeah.
10, 11 years ago. But yeah, you having that little break for me within, being able to move from Reading to Napa and take a break, I was able to talk to some of the pros who've been doing this, almost as long as I have, and hear how much they're making, what they're charging, who their clients are, what kind of services they're offering, how they're offering them, how they're marketing them. It just really opened up my like whole landscape of how I can do business differently. And
Hmm.
like you were talking about transparent pricing, I used to put my pricing on my website,
Hmm.
but now I offer so many different photo booths that that's not even possible. I don't own all of those photo booths, but I offer them because I can white label many of the ones that I
Hmm.
don't have. So I can't put my DSLR pricing up there if I've got 5 different types of DSLR booths. One of them's high end deluxe, and the other one's like low end, and which ones are available and all that stuff.
So then, in
But
other words,
I love
sorry.
the idea of having the transparent pricing of the line items. Do you guys provide any kind of training on that?
No, I mean it's not. We don't provide a lot of training when it comes to pricing and packaging. You Check Cherry is like in itself like pretty opinionated. Like you can do a lot with it, but we have to make product decisions, and there's trade
Mm.
offs basically. And so we like to be thoughtful about those product decisions, and the transparent pricing and line items would be one of them. you can you can override pricing on packages and stuff. So we do have people that
Mm,
will inflate the sticker price. It's a little bit more it's more manual. It just can't really be done automated in a way that that it's up to our standards from a support standpoint, ease of use, that type of thing. But it's definitely something where I would say, just it's easy as a service provider to have your like how I want to do business, and
yeah.
like I get that, and like you do have to have that in mind. But I really think the winning strategy is, how do customers want to buy? Like if
And
you
it's
really
true.
put
How do they want to communicate? Yeah.
how do they want to do it, and if you can find ways to accommodate that are acceptable to you, you're basically going to have the wind at your back, more so on a sales standpoint, as opposed to having more of what I would say a selfish or self-absorbed position, which is like, this is how I like to do things. And that's fine if you don't want more sales. That's fine
Right.
if you're happy. Maybe you're at a position, in your business where that is not important. I've got enough relationships. I've got enough business. I don't want to work full time. I want to do less events, but charge more. I mean, that's another thing with advice in general. Any market, photo booth's no different.
Yeah.
There's reasons that people have different perspectives. People are in different stages of their business. People have different personalities. People have different goals. And I think that one of the fun things of
Lifestyles,
yeah,
families, all of that. Yeah.
one of the fun things of entrepreneurship is kind of taking all that advice and then putting together and piecing together what's going to work for you. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the challenge. And it's like everything's unique and everything's, it's like if you're of the mindset where it's just like, hey, I'm just going to follow this person, everything they say, um,
Right.
don't be disappointed or don't be surprised if it doesn't work out for you, because you might not be at their level, or you might not want their kind of business, or you might not
For their
um, have
clients.
it
Yeah.
ranked, or whatever it may be. So I think it is something to there's a self-awareness component, I would say, in life and in business, that if you're kind of more self-aware and acknowledge kind of where you're at and what you want, that it's like that's a good thing. And so we see, and of course, like from our position, we see a lot of different types of entrepreneurs. We see a lot of different types of businesses, a lot of different styles, and they come to us wanting different changes to the software to accommodate it.
Oh, I
And
bet. Yeah.
so it's always fascinating. And I don't know that there's obviously you want to make clients happy. Like that's, I mean, it's hard to argue against that. But when it comes to like how people do business in general and like how they position themselves, everybody's going to have a unique position in the marketplace. And not everybody, like if everybody's going for the same business, like they're missing out. You know what I mean? Like there's probably
Yeah.
different angles. And I've had some people do really creative stuff and see some really creative stuff. And I love it because it's almost like they're establishing like a new market with their service. I remember I came across a woman and she was using the 360, like when you have a basketball team and you would have like baseball cards or something like that. But she was like showing up to like basketball teams and doing like 360 videos for like of like individual teams. Like it was like a team thing. You could hire for the team
Oh, wow.
photo shoot. And I thought that was really cool. I hadn't seen anybody doing that. It makes a lot of sense. And she's using the same hardware to kind of like branch out and like offer a different service, so to speak, that the kids would really like. And, they're standing with their basketball and like it's going around. I thought that was really cool. And so those are the kind of entrepreneurs I think that really stand out in my mind, because they're not competing with the same old business. They're establishing new ways. And of course, she did a great job of already having marketing material of what you would get. Like I think videos and images are super important so people know. Also, photo boothers have it so good in that, like if you think of Check Cherry, we're CRM. And I tell people, I'm like,
Yeah.
well, like what kind of like images can we put on our website of people like sitting at a laptop and happy, looking at your phone and smiling? It's trash. Like that's not, it's so cheesy. But like photo boothers and like
Especially
event
stock
service, like
photos.
people are actually having fun and
Yeah.
smiling and it's genuine. So it's like I tell everybody, I'm like, invest in great images, because
Yeah.
you got it good on that front. And it's just, yeah, it's really something I think that makes sense for people to do. But
Yeah. And it takes time to kind of develop your brand, especially when you don't really know anything about the photo booth. You jump in and hopefully you're technology capable at the very least. But it takes time to get to know yourself. It takes time to get to know anybody. So as you are building your business and you ask those questions and brand yourself, and like niching down, that's really
Mhm.
cool. I've not seen a lot of people do like green screen.
Mhm.
At least there's a lot of like background removal stuff and things like that, but I've not seen anybody who is like a professional green screen person. But that would be a cool niche. Or like you said, the 360s with the basketball. I've thought about the baseball cards that you can make if you take the 4x6 and cut them in half. They
Mhm.
are three and a half. Is that right? No, 2.5 by three and a half.
Anyways,
Can't
yeah.
remember. Anyway, they fit into those little baseball cases,
Mhm.
and that's always fun too. You could do
Yeah, I
the
mean, yeah.
holograph ones or hologram ones. I forget what they're called. Vin, vin, Venticular, I think they're called, where you take two photos and then they go back and forth. There's a ton of stuff that you can niche down to. It's just finding what is good for you and what works
Well,
for you. And
another thing I see is people will. I mean, if you think about your history of being in the photo booth business, I mean, there's it's rare that a business is static, right? I think you're either kind of like you're always evolving, basically, and it's probably in a lot of cases based on your
should be.
experience, journey. Say it again.
I said you should be.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
Should be evolving.
and it's possible that, well, I mean, we have some customers that are very happy doing just very few events. It's like they have full-time jobs and they're happy to do two or three, and it's extra money and it helps, put their kids to private school or something. Like it's just a different, they have a different perspective on it, and they might not ever, really change much. And I think that's okay. But I think most times people are always changing their business and they're kind of like evolving, and I think that's what makes it interesting. And I think it's worth, like, it's never done, right? Your website's never done, your hardware is never done. Like, it's always going to be changing and evolving.
My
And
CRM
it's a good,
automations are never done.
yeah, and it's a good thing. It makes it interesting, right? Like, it's not, you know and tell me more about the pricing. So you say you can't put the pricing down, but so somebody comes in and wants a
I just
booth.
don't. I don't. Well, here's why I don't feel comfortable. I will put something like starts with on a blog post. Starts
Uh-huh.
from. Um, but I service all of California, so I can't put that on my website and then travel up to somewhere
So if I
with
wanted to hire you in Los Angeles, you would come down,
Mhm.
but you were going to
or
charge.
white label because I have people down there
Yeah,
too. So
yeah,
it just
yeah.
kind of depends.
And I think you can have package pricing and then include travel. Like, I think that's standard, or But
Yeah.
I understand that, and it's interesting, the white label stuff. So then you have white label providers that are different price points, presumably.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so then do you do just a percentage on top, or do you always, if, like, let's say somebody charges significantly less, wait, do you start with them? Is that your strategy? Like, hey, I'm going to start with somebody who charges less because I can get more margin, or is it like
I
whatever
would
the person
prefer to.
is, I'm
I
at
would
20%?
prefer quality over price. So I have
Yeah.
people down in LA. I have a couple of photo booth operators down there, business owners that are high quality, charge around the same as I would. But I
Hmm.
guess, yeah, I would charge a couple of hundred, a few hundred over
Yeah.
it. It just
And then
depends. It depends on the
depends on what.
location. It depends. Well, I have this other person
If
here
I
in
have
the
the
Bay
Four
Area.
Seasons, Marriott
Who in the
depends, or
Yeah,
depends
in
on
the
the
Bay
heart.
Area, like all of Bay Area, who charges 130 something dollars an hour. So it's
Hmm.
like I actually pay her twice as much as she charges me because it's too low of pricing.
Hmm.
So, um, so yeah, it just kind of depends.
What percentage of your business is outside the Bay Area? Like, is it common, or is it? a few gigs a
Um,
year?
well, I'm just now starting getting back going within the last, I really just started in like May. Um, right now, I still have a lot of clientele in Reading, where I'm from. I just have, the clients who have had me for so long, they don't want to get rid of me. So 4 or 5 times I come up here a year. Um, I have I have some event, like some small businesses, like the wine girl I have in Napa. That's more of just drop off booths mostly. They will inquire once in a while for an event for like a 360, but then it's too much, or they don't have enough room or whatever. They want it, but it just doesn't work out. I have a client in San Francisco who also works with another photo booth company in San Francisco. So if they're available, she'll go with them first. But if she wants something like super unique, then she'll come to me and ask me,
Nice.
what do you have? What can you do for me? So it
Yeah.
just kind of depends.
Yeah.
I don't
The
have
reason I
very
asked,
many clients for you to say like a percentage though. I'm
yeah,
still building that
the
in
one,
the Bay Area.
a pattern I've noticed is that I'll see Check Cherry customers, and they'll spend a lot of energy and effort accommodating business and business operations for situations and customers that just don't happen very often. Do you see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it's like, hey, like, so
Can you give
don't.
me an example?
I was thinking the travel fees. So it's like, hey, like, I
Oh
don't like,
yeah.
I might put pricing on because I might go to LA. It's like, okay, but like, you go to LA one time a year, like you're missing, I'm not saying you do, but if a person's like just 2 times a year, just handle those exceptions when they come. Don't let the exceptions drive your business operations. Find your happy fat path, and
Well,
lean into it.
I think the reason why, and this is my actual personal reason, because I used to have, like I said, I used to have my pricing on my website, but I only serviced Reading, or within an hour of it. So I
Right. It
didn't
was,
really charge
yeah,
for travel or anything. But what I think the reason why I don't do it now, um, is because I really want to gain a full idea of what event I'm doing before I can give them a price.
you're, you're restarting the business, right?
What's
So
that?
you're kind of restarting the business, right? You're like dipping your toe back into the water. So you kind of also don't know what's going to
Absolutely.
happen. So it's like I think that's also a good reason to be like, look, I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm just going to kind of lay low, or like keep it closer, and then figure it out as I go. And then as the patterns develop, then you have more information to say, okay, this is what I want to do or not. So I get it. I'm not trying to convince you. I
Oh, no,
always
no,
try to
no. I
understand
know.
people's
And I d-
perspectives, and it's just
and I
fascinating.
don't yeah, and I don't think that it's bad at all to put, like an online booking like Chuck Cherry where you can put your pricing in their packages, because it really does say a lot when somebody comes onto your website and then they go through that and then they stop, because Check Cherry gives you that data, right, it
Yeah. So
shows where the client
mhm.
stops and then pulls back. And if you see that as a pattern of people seeing your prices and pulling back, pulling back, pulling back, obviously you can intervene and teach value and express, hey, I've been in the business for 12 years or whatever. Our pricing might be a little bit higher, but we offer way more value, way more experience. Our equipment is top notch. Da 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 da.
I
But
hear people say, like, hey, I want to
either
establish
that,
value. I think there's like, of course, like there are like one-off type events, right? Like that are very unique and like require, I mean, that's a whole nother ball game where you can't really put a price to it. But I think like a website should indicate that you're high value. You should have great
yeah.
marketing. Your website should look like you charge a lot of money. And so they're
Well,
not
one,
surprised.
you should
Like,
have a
wow, they
website.
charge more. They look better. Say it again.
I said, for one, you should have a website. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people who don't have a website.
I've actually seen, and it's funny because um, I agree with you, by the way, but I have seen several people do really well with personal networking and social media. They're just kind of like out there. They tend to be more the extroverted type. They tend to be great at networking. They tend to have a lot of friends. And so I
I
think
could
it
be making
becomes
way more money with a website
less,
though.
for them. But I agree with you. I think that what'll happen is it's people will hear about you and they're inevitably going to want to check things out and go to your website and frankly see pricing and packages, right? Hey, I
Yeah.
like what they do. How much? What's included? Can I afford it? I think that's a very logical, and it might, that might be something that a person doesn't want to do, but I think that's the clients are looking for that, right? Like, hey, I
Yeah.
loved it. How much? Can I afford it? They're not even like, yeah. And I think, like I say, I would just challenge people that feel they need to establish value. Most people that visit the website aren't going to reach out and give you the opportunity to establish value. Think about it.
Yeah.
They're going to show up and like not even bother. I mean, I don't know. They're not going to submit lead information. They're just going to kind of poke
Right.
around, distracted. Whereas if you can really
Unless you
establish that
have like an email catcher or something on your website.
Well, I mean,
But
even then, I think most people aren't going to, like what percentage, certainly not more than 50% are going to put an email address in who show up. That would be amazing numbers if you could get that.
yeah.
It's really unlikely, probably in the 5 to 10 would be exceptional.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's,
I think we should talk a little bit about pricing because I get that a lot where I get, you know, my website is really high end. It's, we've got everything from every booths to we've got the wooden vintage booths, 360s. It's I had it made by Booth Website. It's really
mhm.
nice.
Dave's
And I still
awesome.
get leads that say depending on price, depending on price. And it's like I will call them immediately and be like, I understand that price is, an important factor, but like I'm going to charge more than most other
I,
people because
I think
I've been in the business for 12 years and I have experience and I have the high end equipment, brand new, and I'm ready to go.
when they say depend on price, does that mean they're price sensitive?
I guess
I mean, I
so.
think we're all price sensitive at some level, right? Like we're all aware of price, and we want. It doesn't mean that like I
I
might be
think I,
less or like I give this
yeah,
example of, like analyzing my purchase decisions because I'm weird like that. Um, but the reason I did that is like there was security in paying an extra $20, and it wasn't that big a deal to me. Does that make sense? Like I was like, oh, like
hmm
this is going to be a better product. Now, is it? I don't. That stands beside the point. It may or may not be. But I
yeah,
paid double. Now it was only $20, so it wasn't that much to me for the glove for security. And so I think you'll have buyers out there that do that, but I still want to know the price of the glove. It's
true.
not like I still want to, I still want to know that. So I think just because somebody is really, I think all of us actually are really interested in price. That's the first thing that comes to mind because like why? Like we're trying to establish value, and is it worth it? I think at some level, or can I afford it? Um, and I like obviously there's people that are very price sensitive, and I would say probably not a good lead in general. If somebody's like super duper price sensitive and like looking
That's
for
what
bottom of
I
the
mean,
barrel,
that's
really walk out. And I would say putting pricing on the website is a great way for them to never enter your world and your sales funnel and your lead, and waste time
right.
with them because you're like, look, there it is.
No,
You can't afford it.
totally.
You're not going to get personal information. Um, on the flip side, I do think it's like in my mind, like when I'm shopping for services, it's like and take it out of photo booth. I need my house painted, for example. I'm not saying I do, but I need to get my house painted. Like, what's the first thing I'm going to do when I start calling people up? Is start
Asking for
talking
price.
about what price, right? Because like I need to know, like, are we? First thing I want to know is, and this is because I don't know anything about house painting. I would want, and this is just an example. I would want to know, like, is there a high variance in prices? Right. So if I call up three people and everybody's at $5,000, then it's like, okay, well now like that's a good information. If I call up people and I get 2,000, 5,000, and 25,000, that's like a whole different world. And then it's like, okay, well, like now it's like 25,000. Why? I'd be curious, like what's included, type
Yeah.
stuff. I'd go there and it might, maybe it's worth it. I don't know. But I think that the price thing, and also what I recommend people doing who are comfortable putting price on it. Again, we have customers that don't put price and do lead collection and send proposals, and there are valid reasons why. But I think putting a like a pricing call to action in the top right of your website is awesome, and then they send them to the Check Cherry sales funnel because everybody's going to click it,
Yeah.
and then they're going to go, and then they're one step closer to doing business, and they're one step closer to being a good lead, basically, because they've seen price and then they've given information. So I like that flow. That being said, there are reasons, and we have even like features where you can delay showing pricing before lead collection and all that stuff to help ease people into it. And we do
Yeah.
have customers that they don't want to. We have some. There's a business out of the Northeast, and they talk about travel. I mean, they'll travel to like Mexico and have like really expensive bookings, really high end weddings. And I don't think that they put price on because it's just like there's way too much.
And
And so I think they just
that's
see collection and there.
that's another reason I don't too, is because I live in Napa. It's Destination Wedding Central. It's a very high end luxury place. So it
Uh,
really does depend on the client and the venue and the
Medical.
event.
Yeah. And so you're trying to maximize your revenue opportunity. Be like, okay, I know that it's going to be expensive to have that wedding, so they got the money. So let's go
No, I
higher.
mean I don't do that intentionally. I mean it's like
Subconsciously,
if
no.
if 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 we no, I mean I mean if there's celebrities involved and there's a DNC required or whatever you call it. Do not, is that what it is?
Non-
DNC? No, that's when you don't resuscitate. Whatever you call it, the
I would think a
stuff that you
non-disclosure. Yeah.
non-disclosure. Thank you. But yeah, it just depends on the complication. When you get really into those high-paying events, these brides and the wedding planners are kind of a pain in the ass to deal with.
Yeah. No, I get that. And I think but
So
like that's a business decision, right? Listen, I want to do high end stuff, and I think that that's fine. Your website should reflect that you're high end. Yeah, great
yeah,
quality.
I just have tiered photo booths. So I've got really high-end luxury photo booths that I charge a solid premium for because they're expensive.
I've also
And
seen
they're
our we've stationed that.
yeah, I'm just kind of figuring that all out right now, I think.
I
I
think
mean, I'm
it's.
charging more than I was before, for sure. But
I used to have a.
now I'm doing a lot more too. I've got
I was gonna say, I
AI
used to
I'm
have a clothing
offering, and
brand.
I'm
When
offering
I
all
did
these
one, they would
wow.
just
Yeah,
turn away,
I
think
like
about
that.
it in your
Yeah.
ears.
I mean,
It's
that's
I
kind of how I'm
think
feeling